Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own ladder for a trampoline. In my last video, I showed you how to anchor it into the ground, trampoline into the ground. Now I'm showing you how to make a ladder. And there's only a few things we're going to need. A couple of 2x4s and some EMT conduit. Let me show you. I'm going to draw some plans. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's get going. I'm going to put a little bit of an angle on it. We're going to do a 15-degree angle. You need to measure how tall your trampoline is. I'm going to do mine at 37 inches. So this is a 2x4, 37 inches with a 15-degree angle. We're going to do two of those. That's going to be the sides of the ladder. Then we're going to do cross boards of 2x3s. That way it fits a little bit better, but that's 12 inches apart. So each step is 12 inches, and there's 3 of those. The way we're going to hook this onto the trampoline, we're going to use EMT conduit running along the sides of the 2x4s here, and then do a little candy cane hook. So that'll hook on, and then we're going to attach this EMT directly to the 2x4 with some clamps. So with that design in mind, we need to cut 2 2x4s that are 37 inches long with a 15-degree angle on it, and cut 3 2x4s that are 1 foot long, 12 inches long, and then cut it down ½ inch or an inch, just so when you lay the 2x4s together, you're not having a corner of it sticking out because this is at an angle. And remember, I'm going to cut this at a 15-degree angle, but my chop saw will allow me to cut that angle. All right, this was where we just cut. We can turn this, and now this is our first cut for the second board. And then we can make our measurement here. So make sure we're flush. Now we already have our second line to cut. Make sure to put on your eyes and ears before you start cutting. I've cut this slightly short so this can sit underneath the trampoline, the wood part. That way when I put the metal on, the EMT, it'll curl over the top of the trampoline bar. So that's what I decided to do. But that looks pretty good. Now we're just going to put 3 steps in. Let's get those cut. All right, so I'm going to show you why we're cutting the 2x4 down for the steps, down from 4 inches, which is really 3.5, down to 3 inches. Because when you adjust your step to be at the proper angle, the 2x4 is going to stick out the back, and I don't want it to stick out the back. It's not going to hurt anything back there, but I think it'll look a lot better to not have anything sticking out. So we're just going to cut down ½ inch off of the 2x4, so it'll be 3 inches, 1.5 inches by 3 inches instead of 3.5 this way. All right, these are the 2x4s I'm going to use for the steps. I need to shave off a little bit, so I'm going to cut a ½ inch off. Be careful when you're using a table saw. Make sure you have your eyes and ears protected and you're not getting your fingers close to the blade. I've already measured this one to be exactly 12 inches, so I'll use this as my guide. When I draw the line here, I remember I'm going to need to cut that line off so it matches the same size. So I'll cut this and then do one more. All right, so now we have our sides here, our steps are in the middle. They're cut down a little bit so that when they're put at the angle, they don't overhang on the back. I'm going to do the bottom step a little bit taller than the rest. So it's going to be a foot off the ground, 12 inches. Then the rest are going to be 10 inches and 10 inches. So the first step's a little bit higher. That way for the littlest kids, they have to get hard. It'll be harder for them to get up. Less likely they'll climb most of the ladder and fall off. I also didn't want this top rung too close to the trampoline. If it's 1 inch below the trampoline, then they won't use it and they'll just try and skip and get down. So this gives us a few inches from the trampoline where they can get that last step that's really straight. So we're gonna mark it 12 inches, 22, and 32. And then now we just have to set for a 15-degree angle, and then we'll put 2 screws in on the back on each side. All right, a simple way to make sure you have this angle right is to measure the top side. We did at 12 inches, but we'll also measure the bottom side at 12 inches, make a mark, and then just use a straight edge between the two. And now you know that's where this step is going to sit. Just like that. So we'll do that, repeat this process for the other 2. Okay, now we're ready to pre-drill on this side so that when we put the steps together, we'll screw into the steps, and that's what's going to anchor it. So we'll need to pre-drill a little bit. I put 2 arrows on this, pointing which direction the ladder is going to be going. We don't want to get that messed up, but we know we're going to have 2 holes from screws about right there coming in through here. So we're just going to pre-drill on this side, drilling through that way, and then we'll come back and reverse drill into this. So I can just mark some spots, make sure, yep, that'll fit. You don't want to be too close to the edge or the other edges. All right, now we're ready to pre-drill. I have a pretty small bit, so we're not trying to make the hole too big. And then I also don't want to drill into my table, so I'm going to start over here. Now that I have my holes pre-drilled, I can set a 2x4 here, and you can glue it in place if you'd like that. All right, so we need to make one adjustment to our marks. Remember, we put the line there so we know our angle, and then we did the same thing on the other board. The problem is this board needs to sit on top, so our line is now no longer visible to the board. So we need to draw this same line and the same angle on the other side. So an easy way to do that is to turn the boards so they're opposite, mirror images. And then now we know where to mark that side, the top 3 here. Then we still need to mark our normal 12 inches, 22, and 32. And now make the straight edge to finish this off. That'll make it easier to install the steps. Alright, so this is just set together, kind of like a dry fitting. So we know, okay, does it look right? The angles here are also matching the steps. So that looks good. We have our holes pre-drilled. The 2x4s are not sticking off the edge, so it looks like we're ready to just screw this in. You also want to pre-drill your steps, because right here, if you put a screw into this could just split, and we don't want to see that. So pre-drill this. The way I'm going to do is I'm going to set it in place. I'm not going to worry about the bottom yet. I'm just going to get it kind of close, and then I'm going to go look at the top and get the top exactly where I want it. Give it some pressure. I already have my holes here that I had pre-drilled. Now by using those, you can see I have my holes here that I can drill the rest of the way. So now I can drill right in the holes and I know it's going to fit in the right spot. So you'll just repeat this for the rest of the time. So I finished pre-drilling all the holes, not only in the top, but also in here. So now we're ready to go. I'm not going to use any glue because these boards have paint on them, so the glue's not going to stick to it anyway. And it's just my kids that are getting on the trampoline. I don't need the ladder to last forever. So I will put in our screws here just so they're ready. I like using T25 tips and a head on the screw, and this is a 3-inch screw. One thing that I've decided to do was leave the curved edge, the side I did not cut off. This is the side I cut. Leave the other edge as the one they're going to step on. That way I don't have to sand this, because this is a pretty sharp edge for your feet. So I'm not going to sand anything. I'm just going to do it the way it is. So we are ready to go here. It still looks good. Put the other screw in. Alright, so that's half of our ladder. Let's flip it over. Let's get our other 6 screws ready. Now if you wanted to, you could have it poke out a little bit and that'll sit in that hole. That's totally fine too. That'll help you make sure it'll be like guiding you into the right spot. I'm gonna have to reverse this one a little bit. I want to start on this side. You can see there's a little bit of a gap here because my 2x4 wasn't straight. So I'm going to use a clamp and clamp this down and then put the screws in because I don't want it to split. Now that I have one screw in, you take the clamp off. Alright, now let's take the ladder over to the trampoline, see how it looks. Okay, this looks really good. I like that it's really low profile. I've seen some of the other ladders that are on YouTube where people have done it themselves out of 2x4s, but it's this huge thing, it takes up a lot of space, lots of 2x4s. I wanted something really low profile, be really easy to move when I need to mow the lawn. So the way this is going to attach to the trampoline is just simply going to be a hook that lays over the top of it. We're not going to have anything that's actually clamping to it, and it'll just be the pressure for people standing on the ladder pushing against it. I'm going to do EMT conduit that's going to wrap around, and that'll be screwed here with some just two hole straps. So I like what I'm seeing right now. This looks really good. The next step is going to put EMT. This is 1/2-inch EMT conduit from Home Depot. The 10-foot stick was less than $7. And then I'm going to hold it in place with this 2-screw strap like that. And then we'll just come up here and then just bend this over. And that's how it's going to hook onto the trampoline and hold it. Okay, I've been thinking about this ladder for the trampoline, and I don't like how this currently looks. It's not super functional because the ladder moves a lot, and that's enough that a child could fall off. If they're standing right here and they push back a little bit, then they could fall off. So I don't like that. And then also this is really pointy right here. So I don't know why I messed up on the angle. Instead of making it level with the ground, with the angle I cut there, I added that angle to this, so now it's pointier on the top. So I'm gonna just lop this off, so this is basically level with the last step. And then I have a piece of metal that I'm gonna use to go on the back. This is just like a flat strap with a couple holes in it that has been bent and painted black. And then this will sit right here. So it'll still allow me to pull the ladder off the trampoline if I need, but the angle of the loop is a lot smaller than this current loop. So it'll hold the trampoline a lot closer to it. So that's my new plan. This is a little bit better of an angle. So this is the angle I want it to be at. Instead it's going the opposite direction. It needs to be like this. So let's take these off. We'll save our screws. All right, we won't need this anymore. Let's mark our angle. So we want to go the same angle as the stair here. So I'm just going to eyeball this. Just looking to see if this is parallel. Oops. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Just again, making sure this is about parallel, just trying to match about the same angle. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just for the kids' safety on this one. Okay, put your eyes and ears on, let's make a cut. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to put this on the back, and that will screw in back here. Now we need to take it over the trampoline and figure out how high or low we want this to be. Okay, some of the things I'm looking at here is the ladder vertical enough, or do we want to push the bottom out a little bit more so it sits a little lower like that? One of the considerations is the top step here. We don't want it underneath this, just like this one is out a little bit from this one. So I'm also trying to get this flat on the ground. I like how that is, so I did end up pulling the bottom of the ladder out just a little bit. And I'm going to put in a screw now over here. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. Like how that sits? Yes, we do. Grab one of the screws that we saved. All right, now that this is on, we can take this off. Now that we have at least one screw on each side, we can take this off. So you can see, now it's easier to see to put these other screws on. So let's put those two on. And we'll be done with this. All right, I'm just gonna do 2 screws. There's a hole for 3, but I don't think we'll need all 3. Nice. So just set this in there. There we go. Great. I hope you found this video on how to build a DIY ladder for your trampoline out of wood useful. If you have, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Thanks.